Hello, and welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
So I say, okay, sorry, it's been a while. And I am a Riley Silverman of Star Wars, of like writing Star Wars books.
That's newly minted author.
Yeah, of Tatooine. Riley Silverman of Tatooine fame.
There you go. Of Tatooine fame. That's that performing arts high school in Tatooine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. Glad to have you back. And in between last time and now, you have a Star Wars book coming out, which is super exciting.
Yeah. It was a big part of my 2021 was writing this Star Wars book about Tatooine and basically getting to dive into essentially everything that's happened in Tatooine in canon up until last summer, and putting it into a cool book. And then they made some art out of it, and now it's going to be released this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, congratulations on that, and congratulations on being here for minute 46 of Solo, a Star Wars party.
Must be an honor.
46.
It is. I like Solo, so I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the other day, this is tangent before we start, but the other day I feel like somebody was like, they finally got a guest who likes the movie. And I was like, most of our guests have liked the movie. I can't think of anybody nobody's hated it so far. Nobody's been like, I don't like this one. They've all been, like midland to positive. So anyway, 46. It's a minute we like. It starts off with Han saying, I was coming back for you. And wait, maybe that's more through. I was coming back for you. And it ends with Chewie shouting about cocktails. So, salute, Chewie.
Yeah, so it's a weird thing that Han's like, what a coincidence. I was just going to go back to save you after I've completed this deal. Would you believe that at all?
Not at all.
If you bumped into someone and like, hey, I was just going to come over. You know what I mean? It's I guess Han's speaking out of like guilt, kind of. Like that he's like, I totally meant, I totally intended.
I think he's also kind of shocked to see her, and he's like spinning his wheels. Like, I had a whole plan. Like, I was going to be the hero, and now you're your own hero. Like, you don't need me at all. Like, it's a kind of that like vibe. I think a little bit. Maybe I don't think he's quite made the math that she doesn't need him, but I think it's very much like this whole thing that I was doing was to come back for you, and now you're right in front of me.
Right. Mission accomplished.
It seems a little like cringy hero to me, though.
Well, yeah.
Like she's come this far and without his help, and so I guess you're supposed to feel that way, right? You're not.
I think that's the ultimate point of the movie with her, but I don't think Han has made that. I don't think Han's connected that dot yet. I think Han's still like trying to be like, I was coming to save you. Like this whole thing was for me to do that for you. And
right.
But do you think like from the point of view of the film, are we supposed to be like on Han's side, or are we supposed to be seeing that Han is kind of naive and that we're supposed to be aware of? I guess because we know what happens and what she's been up to, whereas Han just got here. So I could see the audience being more on his side, thinking, he's going to help her or whatever. So
I mean, he can be naive, and we can still be on his side.
Yeah, like I definitely think we're supposed to root for him here, and I think the movie. I speaking of also like my memory of seeing it in the theater for the first time, I feel like I both was like, she doesn't need him at all. But I also got the sense that she was still sort of under the control of Dryden Voss. So you kind of still had that idea of like, so he's going to have to rescue him away from the mobster, which is kind of par for the course of this genre of film if you divorce it from Star Wars. So it kind of makes sense in that regard too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it is a little bit like like now that they've started out with the Dickensian kind of grimy underworld story, and then they went to the war story, then they went to the heist story, and now they're in the kind of gangster story. They're in the organized crime story. So like, of course he finds the girl who's with, it's almost like the Broadway rhythm section of Singing in the Rain.
Yeah. I think it fits well into the heist movie genre as well, because heist movies often have the scene where like you've messed up the job and now you've got to make nice to the mob boss by pitching a different. Like this is straight out of. I've seen so many con artist or heist movies where it's like, oh, we messed up really big on that job. Now we got to try to make nice with the boss, and this is like it's almost like beat for beat, that kind of thing.
Right.
Well, yeah, I guess, and again, another part of the gray area of the Venn diagram is like a noir kind of thing, especially with Kira, because you're like, as it goes on, you're like, he's assuming he can trust her, but then as things go on, you know, she kind of has her own agenda, which is a very film noir thing also.
Oh, totally. She's definitely being set up as like a femme fatale in this story. And I think they do a good job. Like, you know, I'm not going to have those minutes today, but they do this week, but they do a good job of setting her up to be like, oh, he can't trust her, but not for the reasons that you think he can't trust her. It's like very interesting. Like you think the whole time you think she's going to backstab him to Dryden, but there's a whole lot going on with that, which is interesting.
Yeah.
She's probably seen some very dark stuff during her 2 years.
I mean, she saw the first half hour of the movie.
No, she couldn't even see it. It was too dark.
It was too dark, yeah.
Well, to be fair, you know, if there was too much light, those worms would have died. So they have to keep it a little bit dark for their benefit.
Keep the worms alive. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Keep the worms alive. One thing I didn't notice until I was looking through my official Star Wars official solo. God, I keep forgetting what they call it. Star Wars, the official guide. They stopped calling them the visual dictionaries for some reason.
Well, it's weird. They call it again for Rise of Skywalker. So apparently, in between the two, maybe they only do it for the saga films, or I don't know.
Story movies are guides, and dictionaries are for saga.
Yeah,
dictionaries are for sagas.
Yeah,
but
and illustrated guides are available for you next August. Sorry. Anyway,
is that her necklace there is basically the Crimson Dawn logo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, they make a big deal of the fact that you can see it on her hand, but she also has it right on her chest. There. So it's a weird thing that they're kind of like, you know, I guess hiding in plain sight. But
right.
It's like a collar almost. If you look, it's like a gilded collar.
Oh wow, yeah. Symbolic.
I wonder, do you think it's the top sharp? Like if somebody grabbed it from behind, would it be like...
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I kind of wish they'd use that in some way.
Like
maybe that's too brutal for Star Wars, but I love that idea.
Tell that to Jango Fett. It's like one of those dog collars where the spikes stick in so that, you know, when you pull on it, it really... Really...
Well, it's like all those slave collars you see, especially in Clone Wars, where it's like the slaves, they literally can do that kind of damage to people. Or even, I think even possibly in this film, did they have slave collars during the Beast Pit section, or is that not?
Oh,
I don't think so.
They probably have some kind of chains or something on their necks.
They were chained at the leg.
I think it's just all chains. Yeah, I don't think Chewie has a slave collar on, but there are some other Star Wars things that have those collars. And
and when Bouche brings Chewbacca to Jabba's palace, that's a Chewie. It has a guard thing around his neck.
Yeah.
So
the Pikes are big fans of those kind of collars. So
yeah,
we'll get to that.
Was Crimson Dawn? I forget if this was already brought up, but Riley, you seem like you know a lot about the stuff that we don't know about.
You know about
like
Star Wars,
Clone Wars. Well, about the TV shows and stuff that we don't really, High Republic and all that era stuff. Is Crimson Dawn introduced in this film, or was this already in the Clone Wars and Rebels prior?
Sounds like Pete has the answer to that one.
I think we did look it up a week or two ago. That when we first heard about it, I think we looked it up and it was close, but this was first. Like obviously, it was like a planned rollout of sorts.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was the first actual mention.
Yeah.
So in Clone Wars, when I was to that, you see Maul beginning to build his own criminal empire and like uniting different families behind this new idea, but it's never fully formed because he's interrupted in the middle of doing it by Palpatine, who was still the Chancellor at the time and not yet the Emperor. And so, and then like that's when Sidious and Maul reunite finally, essentially. And Sidious just wipes the floor with Maul and is like, here's what you're going to do. And they kind of cut away. And so the idea is that at that point on, Maul goes back to being Sidious's lackey in a different form than being his apprentice. So I think this is like the ultimate like rollout of what that's begun there, but it isn't name by name yet at that point.
Right. So he is still under Palpatine now at this point? Is that?
I think he's under Palpatine in like the kind of like third party who is like indebted to me sort of way. Like I think he like technically is in charge of the organization, but he always the same way. Like if there's certain comics where Vader goes to like talk to the Hutts and essentially is like, I'm gonna let you make a deal for me, but if you say no to us, we are going to destroy you. That kind of stuff. So
So he's more like an independent contractor as opposed to being his apprentice. He's like works with him, but not in a
gotta
direct
pay tribute, you know.
Yeah, basically, like I think of it like a separate crime family, but Palpatine is still kind of like someone they owe fealty to.
I'm kind of surprised that Maul would, I guess, like you said, Palpatine mops the floor with him, but it seems like that would seem to be kind of humiliating for Maul.
Which is why when Maul comes back in Rebels, he hates the Sith with a fiery passion. Like, he very much, a lot. And there's an implication that somewhere between like this movie and Rebels, like Maul gets knocked from grace again. Like Maul gets knocked down a peg. Because when he shows up in Rebels, he's like just beaten and like
ups and downs.
In a sense, aren't we all under Palpatine?
In a way.
Really?
Fair enough.
Somehow
he returns.
We are all under Palpatine.
Somehow Palpatine reigns.
On a related matter, I actually wrote this down prior to this conversation, but what's the deal with midichlorian testing at this point?
What's
are they
deal?
still is Palpatine still testing kids, or are they just not? Like, what's the?
There's a lot of plots in Rebels that involve like a list of force sensitive people that need to be protected, but I don't think they like make it very clear how that list is determined, because there's a plot early in Rebels where I think it's season 2 because Ahsoka's involved and she doesn't show up till the end of the first season, where Ahsoka and Kanan and Ezra are like trying to protect force-sensitive children that the Inquisitors are going after, but it's never clear to me exactly how they know who these kids are. So maybe that's how they do it. Maybe they like get midichlorians. By the time they get sent back to the capital and back to the planet, they're like, oh, that person from 6 years ago is force-sensitive.
It's not an efficient system. So these are children born after the Empire, not like, because you can understand how prior to the Empire they'd have records of every, it'd be part of your routine, going to school and.
Yeah, but also don't forget
actually even before that, I guess, because they do when they're babies, right?
Midichlorian count is just a theory that some people believe is it's not a proven correspondence.
Well,
it's
but
just a theory.
There must have been some way for the Jedi to know who should be.
There is a lot of
their gut. Yeah.
There's a lot of like in the Ahsoka novel, for example, there's a girl who exhibits some level of force powers, and there's very much a like, don't let anyone see her behaving this way or the Inquisitors will come find her. So I think there's a lot of relying on local hearsay and rumors and speculation. And I even in the Fallen Order video game, there's like a section where in the very, very beginning where Cal Kestis uses the Force to catch a coworker before he falls. And then next thing you know, like Inquisitors show up like, hey, somebody said there was Force powers used here or something. So I don't know if it's just pure rumor and speculation or somebody sees something and reports it. If it's a see something, say something situation or not. But yeah.
So, but midichlorians to this point have never been specifically, they're never like, oh my gosh, that girl has crazy Jedi powers. And yet her midichlorians are under the charts.
I feel like midichlorians really got pushed aside after episode 1.
Yeah. And episode 3, of course, when Palpatine manipulates the midichlorians to create life.
Well, sure.
Anyway, move on back to minute 46.
Well,
Solo Star Wars story.
I was really focused on Kira's body language here, which is great because she does. There's a twofold thing. Like one is Han, like she's. I think doubly, it's a double emotion. She's a little bit creeped out that Han is like all of a sudden like over the top, like we're coming to get you and we're gonna be together forever, and she's like whoa, and also like not here, not at my place of business. You know what I mean? Like we'll get in trouble. Like So there's like a double thing. Like she does a good job of like taking his hands off of her, like gently, but then also being kind of like a little bit of like smiling and being like, yeah, well, okay. Like, it's a good kind of, I don't know, good acting on her part, but just body acting, just kind of, she's still radiating, smile, but like also like, well, chill out, take a step back there.
It's a really good establishment of Kira's ability to kind of work the room and play the angles. Like it's the first indication that she maybe has her own long game going on because she has all that body language with you, like you're saying with Han, but she's also like, she doesn't say like, now you don't have to, like she says it and then she falls up with, because you've already found me. Like what she was trying to say is like it's too late. I'm already out of there, but you could be useful to me, so I'm going to make sure to keep you somewhat close to me. Like I think she legitimately cares about Han, but she also knows that she is trapped in Crimson Dawn, like this is her life now, and she's like, so I'm going to use you as a peg to help me to not be as stuck as I am, but at the same time, I think she knows that like she can't ever fully get away.
Sure.
I feel like I don't feel like she thinks he's creepy or anything. I feel like if anything, she's kind of more like it's almost like a like blast from the past, but he's almost like this dumb high school kid. Like she has seen so much awful stuff and like been wised up as to how the world works, and here Han comes in all like, "Oh, I'm going to save you" and stuff, and she's almost just kind of like, "Oh, it's so cute."
Pack your bags, here we go, and she's like,
she's jaded.
So,
He's still pretty
like,
naive.
He hasn't been broken yet.
I think she's
kind of a feeling.
Yeah, I think she's legitimately surprised to see him when he approaches, and she has that moment where she's thrown just a tad bit by it, and then she immediately shifts into the calculated mode of like, okay, new information, this was happening, how do I use this? And I think it's...
I think tomorrow's minute really gets that. I really feel like she has a big turn, but we'll save that for tomorrow.
Yeah. And then she shifts back into controlling the room as she's walking in and giving instructions, which is great.
She's like hostess mode.
Yeah, and I never noticed until watching this minute for the show that she references Doc Undar from Galaxy's Edge, which was really fun because this predates the park opening by like over a year, maybe 2 years even. And so that was a really fun little thing to slip in there.
Who is he? I've never been to Galaxy's Edge. He's the
Ithorian who runs the kind of like novelty shop. So basically where you would go to buy the legacy lightsabers, like all the lightsabers that are based on characters from the films and the shows.
Yeah.
That's his shop. And so there's lots of little like Jedi and Sith knickknacks. And the premise of his shop is sort of that it's all like scavenged things that have been found and are now it's called like, I think it's Doc Undar's Den of Iniquities.
Right.
Yeah. And Antiquities, maybe?
Why would you name your
Antiquities
business
or Iniquities?
I think it might be Iniquities, but I might be wrong.
It is Antiquities. Although maybe that's like the street name.
That's just me being really bad at confusing words that sound similar. But Iniquities wouldn't really make any sense because that's an inequality, I think. It's not. Yeah, Doc Undar's Den of Antiquities, yeah.
I don't trust that guy who runs the Iniquity shop. You need to stay away from that.
I don't think you should trust Doc Undar either. And also, interesting enough, little Star Wars trivia with Doc Undar's is that in the shop, he has a baby Sarlacc that is in a container, and that Sarlacc was acquired for him by Han Solo at a future date that's after this movie happens.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was the one that in Book of Boba Fett, the one that Danny Trejo caught.
No, that's
a Rancor.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Oh,
this is Sarlacc like a pit, but it's like in a big. It's like almost like a Zoltar machine, like it's that kind of thing. Like it has like a glass thing, and it's like dirt, and you can see like the creatures like roots and stuff down in it. Yeah, but it's like a baby Sarlacc that like comes out of it. Yeah. And they actually have like an Ithorian up behind, like when you're at the shop, there's like the counter where you look at the like sabers and stuff, and then they have like Doc is like in his office behind it, like overlooking it all and watching it happen. It's very cool. Well done, actually.
Yeah.
Sarlacc's, how are they eggs, live births? What's their story?
I'm trying to remember because in the comic where Han and Chewie go get the Sarlacc, it's already born. So I can't remember if it's a hatchling or if it's a baby.
Yeah.
I have to assume it must be like plant-like, where maybe it's like a little bit like asexual, like it's like a spore is released or something. It has to be something like that, right?
It's always spores.
Since they're
not very mobile, so
yeah.
I want to call attention to the wait staff person is as you can see here in the visual guide is Ottilie.
She says that here. She's Ottilie.
Yeah. She says
Ottilie or Ottilie, yeah.
Ottilie.
Yes. Ottilie, played by British actress Samantha Colley.
The stuff she's serving is Guyana Reserve. So I wonder if they sell that at the Galaxy's Edge or not.
I know those glasses are featured on the Halcyon Star Cruiser because I've seen them in people's videos from it. The sort of like stem where it's like a gold stem with like a bulb at the top of it.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you been on the cruiser yet?
Oh no, I don't have money. What are you talking about? No,
you're an influencer. I thought you might have gotten.
I'm not that much of an influencer.
Seems like all of a sudden a bunch of Star Wars podcasters and writers and video people were just got to go on a free thing for Galactic Star Cruiser, and nobody called us. The three of us. We should lodge a protest.
Yeah. I need to get them to ask me to write a book
West.
about it so I can use that as an excuse
There
to
you
do
go.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I need to go
Wild
for
West.
research.
So there you go. Adelie.
Yes. Samantha Colley, not in a lot of film or TV stuff, mainly a stage actress, I think. So continuing this trend, we have a lot of British stage actors.
I always feel weird when I see actors playing waiters and waitresses because it's like that's the cliche. Like, oh, I'm an actor and I'm just working as a waiter and waitress. So now I'm getting paid to pretend to be a waiter or a waitress. It's a weird.
I had a real life kind of version of that because when I first moved to LA and like at one point I was working as a background actor for a lot of stuff, and I had worked at an Apple store before I moved to LA, and then I played background on an episode of iCarly, and I played an employee at the iFruit store, and so there's like a shot of me dressed in essentially the same uniform I used to wear to work regularly, but except for all the logos were cleared for legal reasons, but still.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Do you get residuals from that? If I don't mind me asking.
No, that was non-union background acting. That was scraping them. But it was a long day, so I got lots of overtime, which was fun. 11 hours. Yeah, long day.
Long day. So yes, Chewie shows up holding his 2 drinks. We saw him maybe last minute, or Han dismissed him to go get, and now he returns. Holding. It's hard to see because his long furry hands, but we do see him then.
I do like the idea that he was just like waiting, trying to get the bartender's attention this whole time, because I
just acted it out. Oh, yeah, it's video.
Exactly. Yeah, like raising his hand and shouting, and they're like, I don't know what. There's some kind of bear here that's yelling at me.
He just took someone else's drink.
No. I think a Wookiee comes to your bar and orders a drink. You figure out what the Wookiee wants.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say, well, he just left like 2 minutes ago, and I don't know what kind of bars you guys go
That's
to.
true.
I feel like I'm always waiting around for them to notice me. So
for us, it's been like a week, but for them, it's been like 2 minutes. So
yeah.
So what do you think Chewie drinks?
I was kind of confused with that because I'm not used to seeing Chewie be like a Cousin Eddie type, like a double fisting 2 cocktails. Like normally Chewie's kind of like responsible and like he's the designated driver of the Falcon.
Yeah,
it's come up a couple of times for some reason. It's me bringing it up, but there's this weird thing going on where I want to see Chewie as like a frat boy, and this totally
especially young Chewie, especially this
young
Chewie. Now,
yeah.
I mean.
I totally
young
it,
relatively. He's still like almost 200 years old.
But
So I'm totally not surprised at all. I don't think one of those is for Han to begin with. No, but I do. I don't know. We'll I had it for tomorrow, but we can save more drinks tomorrow.
Save
it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
What is this? 46. That was
46.
For the most part all I had for. Oh no, I had one note real quick. I don't remember seeing it in close-ups earlier in the film, but for some reason in this scene I just noticed when it was tight close-up on Han's face.
Dice? Oh.
No, he has got a little scar on his chin.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And now I gotta look at this.
They don't call attention to it.
They don't explain
They
how
don't
he got
explain
it.
It's just kind of there, and I was like, wait a minute. It's not. It's very subtle, but there's totally a little scar under his lip.
Huh.
And I was like, oh, all right. I figured maybe they were saving that for a later story, but I can totally see it there in this.
I know the beginning of the movie is very dark, but I wonder if they're implying if he didn't have it at the beginning of the film and he got it is somehow when he was in the army.
Yeah, I mean, did he get it in the war?
He fought in the Clone Wars.
In the heist? I don't know.
Did he get it when he was like being kicked out? Like at some point when he was being disciplined in the before he got kicked out of the flight academy?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Or the I'm glad they didn't have it be they didn't have it like show his lip bleeding after Beckett punched him in the face just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
What if Chewbacca gave it to him? Like, what if Chewbacca had hit him and that's how he got his scar?
Chewbacca's just like, now you're mine.
Yeah.
It could have happened in that mud fight when they were in the pit. How on earth did they not? I'm impressed by the restraint of the filmmakers for not going there.
Well, now we have to go back and see if it was in earlier.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is definitely the first time I noticed it.
We need to do a prequel.
That's fascinating.
We do? Yeah. Well, we're not going to do a prequel. We're going to do a sequel tomorrow. Riley, can you join us tomorrow? Are you?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Got my schedule.
Well, we will continue with our coverage of Solo. If you want to, let's see, if you want to just send us some things, send us a book, send us a drink, send us all kinds of stuff. We have a place for that. We have a P.O. box. We've had it. It's still there. Adam will check it. He'll sort through it, send the relevant stuff.
You don't have to worry about that part.
I'll eat it and drink it all, and then give Alex the leftovers.
Wait. You're trying to tell me you will eat or drink anything people mail you in the mail?
That they send us.
What if it's sealed?
Yeah.
What if it's a seal?
Seal, the singer. Send us stuff. It's a P.O. Box. What did I say? 20139? Does that sound right?
It's on the screen right here.
Yeah, 20139. Greedo Square Station. New York, 10001. And that will get it to us. Send us some cool stuff, and we will open it, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.